I wanted to share with you the opening of the 5.5 kilos of pork belly, and just the goings on in the brine, because of the many differences that seem to be everywhere when you talk about brining and curing and so on. Alright, so here we go. This has been a 4-day 5.5 kilo pork belly, and you can see the crockery in there. That's to keep everything under the brine. The brine is salt, number 1 cure, sugar, Chinese 5 spice, and some star anise and some cardamom and pepper. All right. The differences are that when we start, this is the book that I use, but when we start to look at these things, we get some really strange differences. This is the star anise. This is the black cardamom that I use. The differences are that a mate of mine, Mr. Bill, and it's Mr. Bill, by the way, because I'm Mr. Ed, and for those of you that are over 40, you'll know that Mr. Ed is the talking horse, and that's why my mates call me Mr. Ed, and I call them Mr. whatever. Now, Bill did some research and came up with the USDA percentages for meat per weight for the cure number 1, which is also called pink salt or Prague salt or whatever you want to call it, potassium nitrate. So for pork belly it needs to be 0.32% of cure. So my pork belly is 5.5 kilos, and that works out to 17.6 grams. Okay, the salt becomes, so I've written it down here, the salt becomes 380.4, the sugar 192, and number 1 cure 17.6. Let's have a look over here what the book says. The book says 350 of salt, 225 of sugar. Okay, that's yeah, on par. But then 42 grams of pink salt, 8 teaspoons. God almighty, what a difference. Now, the reason for this seems to be that if you go with the 0.32% of the weight, you get 17.6 grams. These guys are saying 42 grams. I'm not saying they're wrong, but that's a hell of a lot more than what the USDA says. And so whether you're actually going to cure this for keeping it for a long time, or you're going to cure it for just to give it the flavour and that red colour in the meat, I don't know. But this was 6 litres of water, which I dissolved the first 3 litres of hot water with the salt, and I use brown sugar, and I use sea salt, and then I mix it up. And so what we have to do now after 48 hours is to take the meats out that you've been curing, take them out of the brine and let them sit on a rack back in the container in a dry state for another 12 hours, and that's so that the salt will redistribute through the meat. Alright, I'll come back once we're going to smoke this and give you the rest of the story.